We're live. Here we are. Saturday Night Live Zoom. Saturday, July the 20th, 2019. And this is Q&A or a caca release or a support session, whatever you want to call it. We shoot the breeze or and have some fun. So how is everybody doing? Who wants to share first?
Hot. Very, very hot. You got the heat? You got the heat up there?
Yeah, very hot.
Oh, it's 100 today.
Yeah, so we were at like 36 Celsius, which is
36.6 here.
Yeah, it's over 100. Yeah.
It was like 40.
But yeah, it's very, very humid. It felt way, way hot. Like I went into the car like a sauna beyond. And even with the air conditioner, it took a while with the air, to get the cool down. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
It doesn't bother me as much as it used to.
No, when you're
I love it. I'm loving it.
Clean,
Yeah,
it's not a problem.
I was out chilling. I was tilling in it for 3 hours.
Oh wow! Like when you look at people that are a bit overweight and stuff or not healthy, they're just suffering when it comes with this heat. They're drenched and just suffering. The body ain't working; it's all plugged up. So there's lots of benefits. The bigger challenge, when you're mostly raw foods, people get cold in the winter, but you just got to move. You got to keep going, and eventually, that'll help out. If you start practicing, cold water therapy and stuff, that will help to get used to the cold. But everybody's thyroid is all plugged up, so nothing's properly regulated anymore. We do the best we can in the situation we're in. Gabriela, hello. Chrisia, hello. Judith, hello. iPad, hello.
Oliver.
So what's on everybody's mind here? Let's get started. Any new insights?
I've got loads.
We know.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can either go first and just get it all over and done with, or I'm happy to other people to speak first if they want to share their stuff. So it's up to everyone else. What do you want me to do?
It doesn't matter. Jeremy, hello.
I was going to say.
Hey, Ronzi.
Hey, where are you? Let me go hunt. I wanted to see you. Where are you, Jeremy?
I'm just in my car.
Ah, there you are. You got a blue shirt on and a cap. Oh, mate, it's so
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Oh, man, hugs and kisses. Hugs and kisses to you, brother. Hugs and kisses to you. And wasn't this full moon just amazing in Queensland, right? Because they're not complaining, but they're talking about the heat, right? We had the cold, so we had another cold snap, didn't we? And wasn't it just so amazing when you're in a fasted state, how you don't really feel the cold as like you did last year.
Intense. Really intense. Yeah, it brought up a lot of emotion to me. Lots of emotion. And just, really, I suppose, you could say it kind of showed me the mirror of truth and just brought up a lot of issues to the surface. And it's good, though. Yeah, it was good. It's all part of the journey. And
yeah, embrace it all. Embrace it all, brother. It's, we're not taught to face the mirror of truth, right? We're taught to cover it up and run away. and it's a challenge for us to get into these situations and open up and express it and just let it happen, because we're not taught this stuff, and especially in today's modern society, man, it's just bull crap after bull crap after bull crap,
Eat food and push it down.
Yeah. And we just keep doing like caca. And one day we explode, right? With whatever way, go kill somebody or whatever, or jump off a bridge. Or this is what we see day in and day out. Just got to release it, no matter what it is. It's all beautiful, because we just don't have that understanding, and we're not taught this stuff. If you look at children, they know how to do it, but what do? We shut them down, right? We shut them down. And
same with animals. you know, they get into a fight, and like you watch two ducks, they get into a squabble, and then, you know, they'll go off separate ways, and they just shake it off, and they just get on with their day, you know, just let it out, and it's over and done with.
Awesome. So you're still on, Jeremy?
Yeah, I just hit the 6-week mark today, day 42. So
Nice.
Awesome.
yeah, it's been really good. I just started some hot yoga yesterday. I got a trial for 10 days. You know, it's unlimited used to that, and just trying to really sweat, and gonna start the jiu-jitsu back up again. Do a free trial, and yeah, just really move the lymph and just do everything I can, and just really enjoying it and embracing it, and yeah.
We gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving until we turn to light. Then you can stop moving. Because you can do anything you want instantaneously with just by thought.
Yeah.
I like what you talked about the magnets before, Gino, when we got on here.
Yeah, try it out. We were just discussing. Lisa was showing us some sprouts, and I grew sprouts for at least 15 years, maybe longer. I can't remember exactly, but every day. I missed very few days. We just went on vacation, took breaks and whatever. But I grew them for a while with ocean water. You know, we used to sell ocean water. My uncle's still taking care of that part of the business. But you dilute it down and you mix it in good clean water source. Rainwater would be the best, or whatever clean water source you have. And you feed your plants with that. And when you're doing it outdoors, you got to be careful, and just best thing is either soak your seeds, and if you just buy little plants, just give them a little watering when you plant them, and then just do foliar sprays on the leaves of whatever plants you have, and they love that. You know, you can do that once a week, or you know, even once a month, as little as once a month. Just light sprays. They don't need a lot, and they just dilute it down. Of course, if you have good access to good clean ocean water, I'm talking about at least 20, 30 miles away from the shorelines. Like, get a fisherman, make friends, and get them to get it for you. And you can dilute that down, or you can buy it from available places that are selling that. And you dilute it down. Ocean water is about 20 to 30 parts clean water source to 1 part ocean water. Stir it up, and then you use that for the plants. For sprouts, because we're doing very short life cycles, usually 2 weeks, most sprouts are done. You know, grasses or like sunflower sprouts, pea sprouts, those take about 2 weeks, and you get, you know, beautiful greens that you can consume or juice. And I was feeding them every single day, and they were just. I have posted my old videos. If you look at them, when I used to have hair, before I went into the. I think that was just in the start of the keto, the high fat raw vegan lifestyle. But these plants, you can feel the aura off them. They're just, it's very therapeutic just doing it, just being around them all the time and having them in the house, just like any other plant. And they were just awesome to do. But these days, there's no point in sprouting, because in those days, it was the more nutrition. We need more, right? So we're doing the more minerals, more sprouts, more grasses, and it's all okay for a while until you come to a plateau, which I did after several years. But if you want to implement that in this lifestyle, it works great. You just don't need to do huge amounts, just a little bit here and there, and it's just amazing, the flavors. But I don't remember how long it was. After a few years, started getting into some magnet stuff, learning about magnets and stuff. But back then, I didn't know a magnet was a plasma. And I stuck little small flat magnets, you know, just regular round magnets. They're flat. They're about a 1/4 inch thick by about 1 inch diameter. And I stuck it on the pail of the water where I used water in the sprouts. And I was growing for my uncle, my sister, and my yoga teacher at the time. Put the magnet on, and I didn't say anything. I just gave them the sprouts as usual. Every single one called me and said, "What did you do? They taste so much better and smoother and everything." It was like a completely different plant and flavor. It was a much more pleasant to eat. I can't explain it. You have to experience it. So we're just bringing it up because if you guys are doing sprouts, it's a simple thing to do. And what does plasma do? Plasma is always seeking balance. So when you put a magnet on water, I don't know if you guys ever drank magnetized water, it's much smoother. After 30, 40 seconds or so, putting a glass of water on a magnet, you will feel the difference of the water. It's usually more silkier and smoother. Some people can taste the difference, but it's more of a velvety smoothness to it. It changes the structure of the water. It changes the bond angle from our understanding. So when you do that and you water the plants, they just love it. And you guys can try that, and you'll see the difference for sure. If you don't, what I did is I used the north seeking side towards the water. Some magnets are marked south. They're marked. How do they do it again? I can't remember now. How do you check? The way to check it is when you get a compass and you put the magnet toward it, the north will point to the north seeking side. So that's the side you want to use. Some of them are labeled the other way around, scientific magnets. I can't remember all the terminology, but you want the north seeking side. And if you don't have a compass, I think there's apps. I don't know if they'll work on a magnet.
They're not as accurate.
Yeah, you just want the north seeking side. I don't know if it's going to matter 100%, but from Dr. Philpott, who was one of the masters of magnet therapy on humans, he said he only used the north seeking side. And if you go out there, there's controversy about all the magnet therapy as well. But with a new plasma understanding, the north seeking, the south seeking, basically it's the gravitational and the magnetical side. And one's the giver and the other one's the receiving end. So if you know how to use that for a certain purpose, you can use both sides, but you have to know what to do with them. But for example, if you're using a magnet on the body, if you want one side to give and the other side to take out, you would use one and one. But we're not talking about magnet therapy. I'm just giving you these things so you can try these little things to understand the whole concept of plasma is always seeking balance. It knows nothing else. This is how creation created plasma, to always seek balance. So the stronger will always feed the weaker. And this is how the plasmas and all the universe are staying in complete harmony continuously and not going into a total situation. Let me get that. So, that's the whole basis of plasma. And us as in the human form being in this matter state, we are putting our physical body, mental and emotional body, in an obstructed state. And if you go out in the universe, there's nothing that's stagnant. Everything is flowing continuously. So if there's ever something that's stagnant, it would implode or whatever. It would cease to exist. And so we need to keep things flowing and moving. That's the whole concept of true detoxification. We need to gain that little bit of understanding of what energy blockages do to you. And that's where you have all your challenges coming through with these energy blockages in the physical, mental, and emotional states. They always start in the emotional and they go through the physical. Like you may say, well, what happens if we get in an accident out there? Well, why did you get in an accident? There's something going on to draw that into your life to bring the physical imbalance. So then you go through the emotional imbalance, right? Et cetera, et cetera. But we're not going to discuss that unless you guys have any ideas about it. So we use plasma for example, in a GAN state, these substances are always seeking balance. So if there's something in the body that is out of balance, and you bring a plasma toward close to you, it's going to help bring that to balance. And I just shared a video of somebody, talking about the Kesh technology and how to do the Ganges and so on and so forth. And he was using it mainly for agriculture and so on, and how he doubled his yield and so on and so forth with just Gans water. Simple things. So, there's so much we can do these days. But I just gave a little hint about the magnet, which anybody can get a hold of a magnet anywhere, as long as it's a north and south facing magnet. I wouldn't use the like the fridge type magnets. Those are made with both poles on both sides, so they can stick better because they're very weak. So I wouldn't use that. I would just use. You can probably go to like a Home Depot or something and find magnets or online. So try it out and see what you notice.
I was actually thinking about the moon
Mm-hmm.
and the magnetic pull that happens when you're in a very clean state,
Mm-hmm.
Gino. And it's you can go either way, right? You can have a choice. You could actually have a choice, and I asked that. You now can go this way, and because this full moon was very, very different to the one in June. So I'll go, yeah, well, I'm going to go, Joy, and you've got to teach me. I asked the soul, you've got to teach me how to contain the high energy fields, because that's been happening, especially as you go deeper, is how you release that. And there's many ways we can actually release that, because now we're getting a lot of people that are getting in a bit deeper with their fast, so they should be starting to feel that. So you can either choose the emotional state of either going down the entrapment, or when these things come up, you can actually release them very quickly, or you can get stuck in them. So the choice is always yours. Or when you have those euphoric, high energetic feelings, you can actually go into that, and you, even though it still flows out, try and entrap yourself in that. that especially on a full moon, because if you're in your mind, your mind will just automatically go to its programmed state. So it would automatically just go into, those other emotional feelings. And we can always talk about in our head what that all means. You can say, oh, I might need to analyze it, or I might need to look into it. I might need to get me some teachings, or I might need, that's just all the mind just talking. This is how I feel, Gino. That's just the mind just talking to you, saying, okay, giving you reasons and justifications, and wanting the mind to try and understand what's really going on, because your mind's also going through a change. So when your mind is being recoded, I find it also releases stuff, and it's trying to keep safe. So the only way it knows to keep safe is flight, fight, flight, freeze mode. So it will take you into that state that your mind understands. But if there's a way that you can get into these high energy states and stay in it, all that other stuff tends to fade away. To me, like it just goes into the background. So this other energy field comes up, and when you're in the observed state, like deep in the observed state, because I find like being the observed state is 101 of soul work. It's just 101 to be in the meditative states. You've got to be in it all the time. You can't not be in it. So you've got a choice. And I just said, I'll just stay in the high state. But can you teach me how to release it? I mean, obviously I love dancing, as you can all tell. And I've used it a lot. I've used it a lot even through my 108, where I danced in the other realms. I used to dance music, any kind of music that made me feel good, because the energy, I think you're getting used to it in your first time round, when you're fasting and you just don't know what to do with it. And when you're in a meditative state, your body's in a meditation, and you do that just takes it even higher and expands even higher, but your energy is actually being released. So you're flowing the love through. So you are in service, I think, in the praise of the divine. when you're dancing, there's this intimate, entwined thing that happens. And that's why you can dance for like, I could probably dance for 24 hours. That's the type of energy. So there is no time, right? And I honestly probably over the full moon, or probably about, I don't know, 4 days slept, I don't know, 10 hours maybe, less than that, I don't know. So I used to go to bed about 4:30. One night was like 5:30 in the morning and got up at, I don't know, 7, 8, I can't remember. But anyway, so you go into these states. So it feeds that, like what you're talking about, you know, that magnetic thing keeps feeding it. That moon was just feeding into like a frenzy, really. And so the energies are high. So you get to enjoy that. But I could have gone the other way too. I could have, you know, it would have been hard, I think now, but I was actually thinking back in my early days, it would have been pretty easy for me to go down the mind entrapment, that's for sure. And so learning how to, these energy fields, Gino, which is my intention, right, you know, to get through some of that stuff. One is that, you know, if you're feeling very high, find a way to release that in some form. And it could, one is obviously nature, you know, you go hug a tree in this state, it's not hugging a tree in your first 30 days of even MFS. You know what I mean? Like you go into the tree and the tree goes into you. So it's a different, deeper, and it's not scary at all. It's actually really beautiful. And so it's like little things, like a little spider came in and you just end up, and I don't know where the spider come from, and I just end up having this little loving relationship with the freaking spider. Like I'm going, we're just talking away, me and the spider, and now I said, oh matey, how did he get in, you know? And I picked the little spider up, no fear, nothing, and just put him back outside. It's just all these things that you don't notice beforehand, where these things become so much more in your vision, so you see it more. So the compassion ends up becoming very, very high as well. Even though you got compassion and other people are hurting, you don't actually take in their hurt, but you feel this compassion. And another interesting thing happened when you're talking about that magnetic thing. I had this lady call me. I don't even really know her. Well, she messaged me. I don't even really know her. She goes, I need to talk to you. And I said, oh, okay. And she goes, can I ring you in a couple of days? And she had my phone number and everything. And then I said, okay, why don't you ring me now? And she rang me now, and she was in a panic state, anxiety, not in this group. This is someone Australian type friend, right? So just someone out of the blue. And she just spoke probably less than a minute. And she goes, thank you very much. I'm fine now. My panic's gone. Right. And that's when you said, Gina, this is why I was asking about the voice. I wasn't sure if our voice spoken 432, and I'm from the divine, because I said, oh, that's, to me, I just said, that's the divine. That's got nothing to do with me. So I was thinking about the moon, and, you know, when you're talking about the magnetic and that pull and that infinity loop, you know, the light and everything that goes out, is that when you actually surrender your body and your mind to the all divine, and you go through this process of releasing and allowing your channels to let it do what it wants to do, and then you get rewarded with all that swirling that goes on in your body and everything like that, then it just takes it to a very another higher level. And you're right what you said, what gets attracted in your life is very different from what used to be attracted before in your life, because you know what, it has to do with you. And if you're not releasing all that stuff, baggage, you might think you've released and you released and you released. Man, no, man, when you keep going deeper, I find is that there's freaking more releasing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just physical, it's not just mental, it's just not just the external, it's not just getting stuff out of you. You've got to get all your fucking crap out of your life. Just get the shit out. The quicker you do it, I find the better that it is. So the quicker you change, the quicker you transform, the bigger the rewards are going to be. And even when you're in this state, I find that the soul looks after you, so the divine takes care of you, but you got to trust and surrender in that, because like you just got to, I always think, what's the worst thing that can ever happen to me? I always think, what's the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario, I could be naked under a tree and I could use the tree leaves to, as clothing, and I could sit there. Would I be happy doing that? Yeah, fucking yeah. Sorry, freaking yes. Yes, so freaking yes. So, because you know then that your needs are all met. And if you transition over, do you know I know where I'm going, Gina. Like, I actually do know where you go. So, are you okay with that? Yeah. So once you get rid of Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? And once you get rid of, the fear of transitioning over, then it's just game over because you've completely surrendered. But in all that, like the yin and the yang, the dead juices, which makes you feel alive, all that, the more that you go down, you release all that and you get down to the nothingness, right, or the all-knowingness, you get more of the other end, the other magnetic stuff that comes attracted to you. So in actual fact, you just end up becoming this clean vessel of the divine in order to serve. And when you know that, then there's nothing you have to control. There's nothing you have to really plan. There's nothing you have to set in goals. There's nothing there's nothing to actually think of, because when the soul comes in, it talks like somehow there's this relationship with the soul and the mind, because the mind is now totally relaxed. There is no agony. There is no pain. There doesn't feel like there's suffering in there. The only suffering you feel is the suffering for the world, like that compassion that you feel, like like our little small family here is actually teaching me, because like I feel your suffering. So I actually, even though I'm not having I don't actually have it personally, but I actually feel your suffering, and I'm okay to feel that suffering, because then the soul can come in and give me that compassion to say, what can we do to serve on you in order for you to have such a beautiful experience in cleaning out your channels through the realm of MFS? Because that's how I feel like is the bottom line, and you've got to really, really be so discerned about what decisions that you make and what you do, and let the attraction factor come to you. You don't have to go out and do anything. It just comes to you. So why did that lady ring me up? There was another thing that happened too, but I won't go into it. But why that just happens. And when you're in those meditative states, or when you're in that twilight zone of trying to sleep in that, all I ever do is go talk to you guys. I don't know if you feel it or not. Like I go, hey, Steve, mate, how you going? And loving on your kidneys, and, like Jeremy here, I know he's in a fast. I know you're down in Queensland. You're my brother, just down on the border there. How you going, mate? I know this is difficult for you. This is first 30 days are the most toughest day in Gabriel. Oliver, you've been with me all the time. Like when you first started, you're diving in and you're going in, and I'm thinking, Oliver, let me embrace you. And then you've got Sue, and you've got all the Judith's here, all these beautiful people. And when you come on Zoom, my field on you guys is so powerful. And when I see you on the page and I hear your stories and you share them, like I just take that all in my arms, and I go, wow, this person's having this, and it all seems, the patterns seem to form. Basically it just comes down to fear when you nut it all down, and having these new experiences, and you go into this fear of what's going on. But I'm just saying, don't worry about trying to understand it. You don't have to understand it. Like, what's his name? The guy that's really gotten really skinny or whatever. Oh man, I just felt him, like I go, oh mate, it's okay, we'll send love to all your family. I mean, they don't understand. They just love you so much that they're dealing with their own fears in the mind. They just,
Exactly.
yeah. So you just go through all this, and I've been through it. Like, it was really funny when I was at my parents yesterday. My mum was, my older sister come along. This was in the morning, and my mum was making some Indian bread or whatever, and she goes, oh, that's all right, I don't have to make any for you because you don't eat. And I go, aha, see, aha, how much our fields influence other people is like amazing. It's just so amazing that you don't have to do anything anymore. You don't even have to talk to that person anymore. You know, like I always say, if you want to talk about you fasting and all this sort of stuff, you want to explain, that's all from the mind, trying to make the other people feel safe because you're so loving. But what happens, you don't talk about it, because let the divine come in and let the divine talk to them about it. You know, you don't have to do the willpower. You don't have to do it. You just got to sit. That's the other thing that the divine taught me about this energy, high energy, because I had this confusion in my head, because some other people that fast, they always say to help with the high energies, eat some food to dense down the high energy. I've heard that about 3 times now, and every time I heard it, I actually said to myself, bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. There's no way, because how come, you know, God gives us this? There has to be a reason that we feel this. It's like a reward. And the divine taught me to say, hey, all sometimes you need to do is just sit in it. Sometimes you just need to feel the, you know, the creator really in you. Like I actually feel like sometimes I've met the creator, Gino. I don't know, but sometimes I think that I feel that. And it just goes, this stuff goes deep after 146 or 47 days of not eating. Like what else am I supposed to feel? But yeah, the love is huge, the plaque is huge, and all that stuff just correlates. You see the patterns, Gino, like it's like clear as day, you know. You know, even those feelings of joy, love, peace, calm, and all that. We as humans in the mind have separated all that, you know, in this duality world, to say, oh, this is what joy feels like. This is what happy feels like. This is what love feels like. This is what peace feels like. This is what calm feels like. Well, how come I can feel joy and calm at the same time? And the realization was they're all one thing. It's just all one high energy field that you feel. And it just comes in, like goes through you and into you, like this freaking bloody vortex of freaking magnetic bloody 432 divine, whatever you want to call it. Like the angels are all energy fields as well. We're just all, like you see, you know, you see it all happening, and you go, then you look out in the world and you think there's not much, like when you're in peace and meditation, you don't think there's much not going on. There's a shitload of going on out there when you go into the forest. There's a shitload going on. Like you look at the plant, you never ever look at a plant again the way you look at a plant in these eyes. Like, and you remember then. That's why I think you can never go back. Like if you do a 108, you'll just never ever go back. It's like you got that taste of nectar of God, which I do taste that, especially strong in the full moon on a dry fast, where you taste that oil in the back of your throat. And you taste like it's like flowers, you know, probably with a bit of spice in it. And you taste it in the back of your throat and you go, oh my God, why do you need to eat? Like you will not taste anything like that ever until you're in a freaking dry, clean state. You know, you just can't, because it's a different taste. It's a different taste of lifestyle, living in the human experience. And we've just been lied. Everything you hear, whatever you listen to, every time, even when I talk to you, everything's I don't think I'm a lie, but everything is a lie. Everything is a lie. Every single freaking thing, you know, every single insect, because they're connected with the Creator, they survive. You know, they live through the divine. They've got no mind there. There's no mind telling them to do this and that. Mad intellect can go, you know, how if you'll go do whatever you freaking well like. You got no chance. If I only get a little bit of the divine in my fingernail, I only feel this. This is how I look at it. It's a tiny bit on my fingernail, right? The other side, the man-made intellect side, honestly would just be a tiny little speck in the sand compared to what they're actually doing. So I got this, they got a speck of sand. Just say we all get this, right? A little bit on your fingernail, and we will expand greater, right, than that man-made intellect will expand, because of the exponential rate that we go at. It's going to be more powerful, right? So when I see that little spider, man, there's more power in that freaking spider who has no intellect than the freaking man-made stuff that's going on at the moment. You don't even have to focus. Like, this is how I feel. You don't even have to focus. You don't even have to take it in. Like, just go to the good stuff. Honestly, just go to the good, juicy stuff, because that just expand. I didn't want to put that video up in a way, Gino. I actually felt really quite embarrassed to show my physical form in that way, right? It's a very difficult, it's a very correct, but the soul said do it, get permission for it, because on the full moon, the energies was too high and I was just too much in love. I was just too much in love, and obviously, a lot of people felt that energy field, because that's all I wanted. I just want you to dance. I just want you to forget everything and dance, because maybe in the next August full moon, you can come and dance with me, and we dance together, and we just have the most blessed time that you could ever have, that you've ever had in your whole entire life. Because you know why? You can make a choice. You got the free will, and it's up to you what you want to do. And then those energy fields are real, Gino. They're freaking real. Where all that stuff that yogis talk about, all this sort of stuff, you understand it intellectually. You might have glimpses into that world and all that sort of stuff. But I tell you, there is nothing beats a clean GI tract. The plasma vacuum tube, the channels are clean, and you go on a full moon and you do a 3-day dry fast, where I always say to myself, Jesus tells me, I died to myself and I resurrect a new being. And every time I do that, I always feel like a new being. And that's about me. I talk in this other world, people, friends, beautiful newbies and everyone, because you know why? That's where I'm at. I'm not into anything about understanding. Do the MFS protocols, do Foundation 101, learn that in your first 108. Gino's right in everything he says, and even Rana. It's your freaking training ground. Your do 40 days and build up to a 108. Or just do one of the MFS level. Just start freaking not eating, for God's sake. Just think about that, and then move your way up through the years, and then get to a state where you're actually doing these long ones. And then, like, decades later, I don't know what my year's going to be next year in 2020. The only thing I've always asked for, I'm going to be 20 again. I'm going to be 20 and 20 again. Like, what the freaking hell? I remember when I was 20. Do you remember when you were 20, Gino, Rana, and Steve, and all these people here, Susan, Gabriella? Do you remember when you were 20? I bet you were freaking dancing like me on that bloody video in the 70s. Yeah, I bet you were. I was doing the moves for you guys. Let me tell you, I was freaking in the 70s. Why the hell did George Harrison pop in my head and have a freaking chat with me? Like, honestly. Like, he telling me, and I'm going, oh, mate, okay, well, that's it. I go, how do I get to these people that are, guys, let's go boogie like we did in the freaking 70s. And I said, yeah, I can boogie when we were in the 70s, let me tell you. And who needs plant medicine? Sorry, the people that take, I know you take it. And who needs to drink urine? I don't do that. Like, I just go clean myself out, and I get on a freaking high. Like, that's all you freaking need. That's it. You can do it. Like, if I've done this in a year, and I'm not anyone special, I'm just a boring old person that come from corporate land, and was in tract for so many years, and they took my mind. I surrendered my mind to that. That's what I surrendered my mind to. But when you just surrender your mind to the all divine, of all knowing, of all nothingness, and the limitless place, far out, it comes down quick. The more you surrender, the more you trust. The more you do it. Like, hang on, I'm 49 and I'm jumping up and down. I had no pain. No pain. Come on, 49-year-olds. Okay? So all those people, how many people I know got inflamed and the arthritis and they can't move. I couldn't put my arm up like that last year, Gino. It's just those things that the little things that you do, and how can I move my neck and all that stuff. Having the cranial correction, and how come I'm not wearing glasses, and how come, there's just so much there. The thing is that you don't trust it. You just don't trust it. You're just not surrendered. Shit happens on the external world because the shit's in you. The shit's in you. That's why. Well, I'm sorry if I'm preaching. But yeah, but I dance for us, guys. I dance for us because George Harrison said, I don't know what I'm going to dance in August, but I'll freaking dance in something. I tell you, I got my moves back. I can move my body. And that's when your body and the soul just like, it's got nothing to do with your mind. The mind just goes, oh, thank you, you beautiful soul, physical soul. Thank you for releasing my mind. I no longer have to suffer. I no longer have to suffer. Now I can be a real service. Instead of being service of looking after me, my ego, my intellect, and my my sins that I looked after, protected everything, protecting my lies, a manipulation. I was part of the manipulation. I am still a little, a bit, but I'm getting through that. I am the manipulator of everything. When you realise that, how sinned you are, and then every 3 days, every month, I just release it all on my dries and a clean body. You just get rewarded beyond anything that you can ever think about. But I just hope this inspires all you guys, because I don't know what's going to happen in August.
Did you make to come back down into matter land? Did you make a list of all the ailments and stuff that you've had before?
Yeah, I have got a list. Actually, I've also got it in my brain. I could probably even tell you right now.
Most people, I think, are focused in that realm because that's what they're feeling. And they don't understand that it all comes from the emotion, but because it gets locked into the physicality. And when you're going through these long digestive vacations, all of a sudden it's gone because from your memory, because the pain's not there. And then maybe a few weeks go by, oh, you know what? That's gone. You ever notice these things?
Oh yeah, heaps of times. Yeah, like when I was dancing, because my knees and ankles used to hurt, and I actually remembered a lot from watching myself dance. I didn't. Yeah, my knee and my ankle, I couldn't jump. I know I couldn't jump like that. So you can tell how much more springy that the form was. Like I felt like I was on a trampoline a bit, and so I know. I actually, when I visualized and I saw myself dancing and feeding myself off those energy fields, I cried in joy because I knew the suffering of that physical form prior was like my toes had been corrected. I had inflammation in my body. Like if you want to use a man-made term, I had, rheumatoid arthritis. Huh?
What do you mean your toes been corrected?
Oh, my toes. I had big, like my big toe. Used to go over. Bunions, but my actual big toe used to cross over my second toe, and that doesn't cross over anymore. So I used to sit on the other, so it was pushed over. I'm sure that had to do with years of wearing heels. And then they used to scrunch, like when I used to walk, I used to scrunch my toes and have big bunions on them. So they've actually really decreased a lot on my toes. And my arches come back anyway when you lose.
The heels are not the cause. They would aggravate the imbalances, that's for sure. Right? The cause is always obstructed body. Mind, emotion, right? So that the energy can't flow and it gets stuck in that area, and you have a bunion, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting how things happen. Just things start correcting themselves that you don't.
Yeah, the neck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful process that so many have gone through. We've heard so many miraculous stories. People's spines straightening out and this and that and all kinds of stuff. It's just awesome.
That reminds me, I grew new toenails on my second 108.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a photo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, the bunions are interesting to talk about because I even see them in children.
They're
nowadays.
These days. Just shows you how much the weakness are being carried more and more into the younger children.
Right. Yeah, and I didn't even know what I had was called a bunion, but yeah, I figured it out from the pain eventually. I haven't had any correction in that I've seen yet, but certainly being in warmer weather where you can wear the open shoes without having socks on really is very helpful as well. And it makes you feel free too. You feel more free when your toes are out and feel more connected, and less, it's sort of a metaphor, being trapped in a shoe, trapped in a sock, trapped in a world where we have to wear that stuff.
Yeah, shoes are obstructive for sure.
Yeah.
The second I stopped wearing shoes and I started wearing flat sandals and I started walking bare feet, I mean, my arch came back and my toes spread out. So, shoes they trap your feet.
And what do they do to people? They start putting all the crutches and the curve and this and that. It makes everything way worse.
Yeah, as a kid, I was taken to go get orthotics, and they gave me these big, giant plastic
orthotics
molded pieces. Yeah, and I was supposed to wear those. And to contrast that, now I have kids, and we go out to playgrounds all the time, and the last thing they want to wear is shoes. And they don't care. There's, all sorts of wood chips out and who knows what. It's amazing. They're so connected now. They just, the least amount of clothing, no shoes, and they're happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Going back to the moon and stuff. A lot of focus these days is on for many years, all the negative stuff that they're doing, the pollution and so on and so forth. And I was always, going into the research of how to help with all that. It's all good stuff that, you can use to help deflect all this stuff and balance it out. But the thing that we have right with us all the time is our body. It's made out of GANs. And all you got to do is raise the field strength. And what is GANs? Plasma. Plasma is always seeking balance. So if you're living in a very polluted area and you're eating toxic food, you got no chance. Everything's going to be drawn to you more and more. If you're in a high field strength state in a dry fast, guess what your field strength's doing? It's bringing balance to all the toxic, polluted crap all around you. If you guys ever flown dry, you have absolutely no jet lag, no problem with resetting yourself for time changes or anything. If you have to experience it to understand what I'm talking about. And we don't have to understand all the intricacies of how it all works. And we just know that we are the lab, we are the science experiments ourselves. And the answers we'll always present them to you in plain sight if you pay attention. And the best way to pay attention, I found, is being on a fasting state. And the longer you fast, the more you start to see these things. Like Oliver just mentioned about getting rid of shoes and so on and so forth. Answers are in plain sight. And his feet corrected themselves. Go on a fast and do all that. And it multiplies the speed. Because in this slow motion realm, we're in a slow motion state. But we could speed things up to a certain point, right? And the ultimate state is the dry fasting state. Always. That's what I understand is where everything happens. Everything, the feeding, the hydration, the building, the balancing, and the healing. It all happens in that state. Even though we don't see it happen all in that state in the dry fast. As I've explained before, because we're in the slow motion realm, you'll start seeing it unfold itself once you come out of the dry fast and so on and so forth. So people think, oh, I'm getting the nutrition back and that's what's doing it. No, all the work's already done in the dry fast. So we just don't have that understanding of how that's the way I understand how it works. You know, just like myself, you know, being in the research and studying and about trying to get the best possible water for the best possible hydration, until one day it hit me like a lightning bolt and said, stop drinking water. You've missed it all along. Answers are in plain sight. Body hydrates itself. Bang! I'm going, no way, man. Let's see where this takes us. And, you know, and that was one of the most important revelations, because that led to the newer understanding of the body. Only the body feeds, hydrates, builds, balances, heals itself from soul, through source, right? And that simple sentence tells us all, but we don't have to understand it. It's the beauty. We don't need to understand how it all works, because it's done in autopilot, and that's the beauty, and how things start getting expressed themselves, and how people start dancing, you know, in front of thousands of people like they don't care, because they're just sending love, right? Because it just comes through. When you tap into Plaf, it just comes through, and you can't hold it in. It's something that has to flow, and you're going to express it in whatever way you want. You can do it physically. You can go shut down and go within and express it that way through fields, or you can do it physically. So the choice is always yours of how you want to express it. The key is that being on these calls, for example, you know, people that are watching these calls later on, you know, if they were on these calls, they'd have a different sense. But when they watch them after, they're also going to pick up on these fields if they pay attention what's going on, because it doesn't matter that it's a video, because we're on video right now. We're not seeing each other physically. It's all the same. It's all fields. It's all fields. But when you're part of it within the live group, you have a different sense than when you're watching it. But it's all good. It's all wonderful. So, you know, the whole key thing that, you know, we're not taught to allow ourselves to open up to creativity and to the limitless realm with where all the knowledge is. We're not taught these things, but it's within every single cell of our being, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So I found, and many others have agreed, that when you start fasting, everything starts to open up. I've been and paid for so many courses, this, that, and the other thing, of how to change your states, this and that. I've not seen any of these things even come remotely close to fasting, long digestive vacations. It puts, if you do that and you use those things, it's just, you know what I mean, so much better. But you can tap into these realms at any time. The longer you go on these vacations, the more you tap into these realms, and the magic starts unfolding itself automatically. Don't have to think about it. So the whole thing, that the point I'm trying to make is we're looking at all this negativity out there now. They're bringing up this 5G stuff and everything. If we would just focus on raising our field strengths and just be the change, I believe that Plaf energy would start affecting so many souls that stuff would just automatically shut itself down. It wouldn't come to be. You know, people would stop supporting these things, stop supporting buying foods with chemicals, stop supporting fluoridation and what. Eventually, all this stuff's going to come to fruition and all dissipate and balance itself out, because we're being that change. You know, living in that high field strength state where we can only bring balance. We can't do anything else when we're in those states. We can only bring balance, and that's where we but choose to focus, choose to love to be in that state. So,
and it wouldn't affect us as much when we are cleaner.
Oh yeah. When you're in a clean state, you're going to become more sensitive and so on to all these toxin stuff, and you know, it's just a wonderful place to be, because your senses are awakened, and that's what they're there for, to sense things.
And then
physical, mental, emotional. We have all three levels of senses. You know, the gut feeling sort of thing, and the heart, and everything else. It's a beautiful place to tap into and express it that way.
And the negative energy flows much easier through.
Yep.
If it's out around us.
Yeah, like, I'm watching Ranjit dance away, and I'm just loving it. I'm going, man, oh man. It was like I was there with you.
I know, did I get you? Did I get you? Because I knew you'd like George Harrison. I knew you both would have loved it. I love you both.
We love it. We gotta have fun. Like, I'm having fun now. Like, it's, this is what I love to do. I love to share and express and support people and inspire people. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here 4 years every single Saturday. I wouldn't be here. What are we going to do? I'd be out there doing something else I love to do. But, I can be in this chair and be in that wonderful, blissful state, no matter what. It's because it's all what we perceive. It's nothing to do with where we are. We can be in any realm we want. Going on vacation, visiting all these beautiful places on the planet Earth is all wonderful and amazing, but you can go into any, galaxy you want, man. Just go, you can go into your dream state and you're there. So the more you practice that, the more you're in that state, the more you get a feel for that, the more reality it's going to feel for you. Being in those states, you won't see too much of a difference from actually opening your eyes in the physical than and going within and experiencing. There will be no difference for you. It'll be exactly the same. We've shared this before about there was tests with basketball players. They split them in half, a team. The half practiced every day. The other half practiced mentally, closing their eyes. And they practice the exact same things, but half the team physically, half the team mentally. At the end, well, guess what? When they both were tested physically, they had the exact same outcome, right? I don't remember if it was basketball or some sport, but the exact same outcome. Why? Because there's no difference between the two realms. It's an illusion that this is different than, the other states we can go into. And that's the beauty. And this is what Ranjit is trying to express to you guys. It makes no freaking difference if you want to open your eyes or close. Enjoy them all. And be in that moment. And it's all beautiful and wonderful and amazing. And it's just awesome. And the more we share about these things, the more people will get to understand and feel them, because we are practicing, right? We the more we do it, repetition is the mother skill. The more we open up those senses, so we can understand more and more and more how to get in that state, and really feel those states like being real, because it is. There's no difference. There's no difference in the dream state and the physical state, because when you close your eyes and you pass on, you leave this body. That's where we're going, right? And back to that state. Into that state of no physical form. And it's a beautiful place to be. So we can.
I was going to say, Gina, just going to say quickly, Gina, it doesn't matter if you fall off or, some people, I feel them like they go off for a while and you don't see them because they've fallen off and they've gone back into eating or binging or anything like that. But the thing is, the soul's always going to call you back. And you don't feel bad on yourself, because in the divine, you're already forgiven. Like, there's nothing to worry about. The only thing that you've got to do is you just jump back on the wagon, but you try and get on there as quick as possible, because once you taste it, even if you taste it dry fast, I reckon, in a clean GI tract, you taste it, and then it's just a matter of you're going to be called back at some point when the time, when those things are ready, because it's the realizations have to happen for you in individually and uniquely, and the patterns that form for you, like the patterns I'm forming, there'll be similar patterns across anyone that fasts, right? Like what you're saying, there'll be some similarities, but the patterns form for you uniquely because you're a unique individual. So the people that may have gone away for a bit and they come back, it's all right. The divine still loves you, and we all love you anyway. So it doesn't make any difference. Just is what it is. There's no time in it.
It's all part of the journey.
Mm.
You know, I'm here whether I'm eating or whether I'm fasting. But my mind is always looking forward to the next fast, right? This is the state I've been in for decades, and I'm always in a fasting state. Even when I'm not fasting, that's what I'm looking forward to, my next fast. Because yeah, we love eating, but you can only do so much of it. Otherwise, you know, you're gonna eat yourself to death like everybody else is doing out there. You know, it's just an awesome place to be through these experiences. Yeah, when we fall off, it doesn't feel great and so on and so forth. As long as we don't do something really crazy and ridiculous, we'll get through it. To put ourselves in a dangerous situation, because when you start cleaning the GI tract, you got to be careful. We've talked about that many times, breaking the fast and so on and so forth. So these are the places where we use prudence, and we look to ones who have gone to those places many times, and we can learn from that, right? So we don't have to go through put ourselves into these dangerous situations. Because
at the end of the day, it's a lifestyle. So a long
no
fast,
rush.
you know, like there's no point really in doing very long fasts if you're going to go back to eating 5 days a week or 6 days a week, you know. So whatever you choose, make it a lifestyle. And slowly work your way up to, so it's less dangerous this way as well.
Yeah, like anything more than 5 days a week eating, it's just way too much physical food, way too much.
I wish that I knew that when I first came off of my raw juice fast, because before, sorry, I can't speak well. I just got this tooth removed. I'm getting used to it, but I used to do the juice fast, and then I used to just think, okay, now that I'm coming off the juice fast, I just have to eat a lot,
Right.
and I have to eat a lot of fruit, and like have to make sure that I'm getting like 3,000 calories a day.
Right.
And it always just happened where I was like, okay, I need to do another juice fast because I feel like I'm building up obstruction again. And it was like this cycle where now I understand it's like a lifestyle, you know? And now when I come off of my fast, I don't feel like I need to eat so much. I understand that balance more.
Yeah, this happens with everything. Water fast, raw juice fast, any fast you do. If you do a fast for a long time, you're gonna be, when you start eating, you're gonna crave everything. I did 100-day juice fast, and I remember I just wanted to eat anything, you know, like, yeah, you know, thinking about everything, it's too much. Because you were away, you know, from eating for a long time, and then
We got to make up for it.
that plan was to go back to eating, and I ate 7 days a week after, because I didn't know any better. That was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah, we're all taught that we're missing something. We're, you know what I mean? You need more minerals, more vitamins, more amino acids, more fats,
Also,
blah, 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 blah.
not only that, but also many of us look at it as an event.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fast, like 100-day juice fast or water fast or whatever.
Just solve all your problems.
Yeah, you're thinking like it's an event, and then I go back and eat normal or eat clean again, you know? Even if it's not about lack of nutrition when you're fasting. Many of us look at, you know, or used to look at the fasting as an event. And then after that, the lifestyle. No, it should be like, honestly, it should be the lifestyle from the beginning. So if you don't want to,
Yeah, my thought, like when I used to juice fast, my thought process was, okay, I just want to like get this done so I never have to fast again. And then I'll just eat clean. Yeah. And I never have to go back to fasting. I just need to clean up my body this once.
Yeah. And a list of things to heal, right? I'm gonna heal this, I'm gonna heal that, my thyroid, my this. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, seriously, it doesn't work like that. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. Whatever you eat after is gonna affect you, you know?
I've not seen anybody understand it, that they that's what the whole fasting world sees it as, right? An event. And I understood this early when I, you know, way back when I read Arnold Ehret's book. This is a lifestyle. it's got to be continued over and over and over. That's why I went into the season change. I go season change. Every time season change, I'm going to fast. And that's what I started doing. And I continued, and I would do longer ones in between here and there. But I took it on as a lifestyle, and it's been 3 decades. And I continue, and I'm only alive because of a fasting lifestyle. I would have been dead a long time ago. But Oliver, you're the one who got the root canal removed?
Yeah, I got it removed a few days ago.
Yeah.
And I actually reached out to Rana because I wanted to get some advice, because I came out of the surgery and I was in just like a world of pain. I mean, I've never been in so much pain, and I didn't want to go to painkillers. I'm like, I'm doing this fasting. I don't want to put painkillers in my body right now.
Right.
So I took Rana's advice, and she said, keep the bowels clean and do dry fasting. I didn't do a long dry fast, but what I did was I really made sure to do like so many enemas. I mean, I was doing enemas all day long,
Right.
and it helped tremendously. I mean,
Of course.
every time I would go back in bed on a rest, after a few hours, I would start to get a little bit of a headache. And then I would go back and I'd do the enemas, and the pain would go away.
You're on MFS now?
Yeah, I'm on MFS.
So that's
And
anesthesia stuff and everything that's got, it won't come out of the body unless you're in a fasting state, And
yeah.
That's also part of the pain problem. That has to move out.
Yeah, I did local anesthesia. I didn't go under.
Okay.
So
it's the same.
Slightly better.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah.
But what did they have to do just to remove one tooth? Surgery?
well, the thing was, there was like an abscess. There was like a cyst that formed. So what they did is they had to cut this whole area in my gum and peel it open, and they scooped it out, and they removed the tooth. So that's why this whole area is really swollen. That's why I'm having trouble talking.
Keep digging.
But
It could have drained on.
Yeah, I would have fasted it out. Like, there's, I always do my best to try and save a tooth no matter what. But sometimes, you get into these states that you're in, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? But
Yeah.
I believe if I never got the root canal, I believe that I wouldn't need the tooth removed, but I wanted the root canal tooth out. I didn't want that metal rod in my, I felt, before I even went to the doctor's appointment to get it checked, and then they were like, okay, the infection grew a lot. I felt intuition. I felt like from my soul telling me, get this tooth out. Something is wrong. And I didn't have pain. I didn't have discomfort. I just had this feeling where I would like sit in bed and I would get kind of like stressed about it. I get a little bit antsy. And that's when I went to the doctor and I got the appointment to get an x-ray, and he was like, wow, that's one of the biggest infections, cyst, whatever you want to call it, I've ever seen. And then,
Horrible.
you know.
We got it out. But I think that the one thing that they opened, maybe it could have drained on its own, but
it could have. I agree, because when I first got the root canal, it used to release pus on its own.
Yeah.
And I think that it could have healed on its own, but
yeah.
I kind of surrendered, and I let them do what they recommended. So, but another thing that really, really helped with the pain was herbs. I mean, taking the herbs, every time I took the herbs, I just felt so relaxed, and they calmed me down.
Opens up the energy channels in the spirit.
Yeah. So, yeah. And also I think the alcohol a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally, I just did enemas, herbs, I rested, I did ice pack, and I got through it. I got through the pain. I mean, now I'm swollen, but I'm not in a world of pain anymore, and I did it without painkillers, and it was tough. It was hard.
Yeah, stay on. It's going to heal so much quicker on a fast, right? I don't suggest people doing these things on a fast, but if you have to do it, you have to do it. You got to be very careful, because anytime they put these anesthesia stuff in the body in a fasting state, it could be way too strong, right?
But
shocks the body.
But you're at the beginning of a fast, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm only 2 weeks in. I'm on day 17, but the first 12 days, first 14 days, were MFS liquid hybrid. I'm not like deep into a fast. I don't feel in that, because I mean, when I did my super long solid food vacations in the past, I know that feeling when you're super clean. But I mean, it threw me for a spin. I mean, for the 3 days after it, I was so out of it. I was just laying in bed. My body was just in a completely different state, for sure.
Well, I'm glad it's over, and now it's just draining and healing, which is.
Yeah, thank you so much. Your advice was it was so simple, but it just made a lot of sense to me.
His advice. I can't give advice.
It's suggestions.
Suggestions. Yeah.
But yeah, of course, it's Gino's. I had to go through Gino, get his opinion on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a solution to everything. Fasting is way misunderstood. Way misunderstood. From what I've seen in the last 3 decades, it's way misunderstood, and nobody's taken it as far as we've all taken it to, and we're continuing to, push the envelopes on it, because it's a lifestyle. It's not an event, and then we live it and we love it, and we continue.
And I feel like the body doesn't just do one thing at a time. Like, I'm sure a lot of people would think like, oh, you had that surgery, your body's going to stop doing other things and focus on that. But really, like, when I was doing those enemas during these past few days, I was releasing so much. It was insane. Like, I felt like I was going even deeper into my detox. And I mean, it was incredible.
That would give actually your body more energy when you clean your bowels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Focus on healing deeper issues.
Yeah. And I've had times in the past where I would fast and I would do enemas and the water would come out clear, and I felt like, okay, I'm not really digging. This time around, I mean, I was doing enemas for like a few hours at a time, and like every time I did it, stuff was coming out of the water. I was like, this isn't ending. It's not stopping.
Yeah, but even when stuff's not like you don't see anything physical, you're still releasing mentally, emotionally. There's stuff's happening. And even,
that's good to know.
So don't just because it's coming out clear. Keep doing it.
It just means, I guess, when it comes out clear, in my opinion, usually it means we are blocked. So just dig deeper, keep washing, because that will soften things.
Yeah, sometimes you'll do 4 or 5 enemas in a row and then nothing, and then all of a sudden it just opens up.
Yeah, and it's bad smell, like maybe bite, and you feel the burn. Yeah.
So just if we just follow the system, the basic protocol, and just stick to it,
it will happen.
It works. It works, and again, the results are there. So who's joined us? Christine. Hello, Christine. David. Latrice.
How's everybody?
Sarah. Okay, yeah. We got a nice crowd today. So what's going on, everybody?
I wonder if Susan started fasting again, because I think you were fasting and you'll get back on, Sue. Yeah.
Yes, I was. In fact, there we go.
There we go.
Now you can hear me, right? Yes, in fact, I was just thinking as you were dancing and talking earlier, Ranjit, I'm almost a little bit afraid of this power. I mean, I cannot believe the transformation already. And just after the fast, I mean, I cannot believe the energy that I have. I mean, I still have my load. I am just absolutely amazed. I just can't even, I mean, I can't wait for the next full MFS. I mean, do you think January is too soon?
What did you do last time?
No.
I just finished, like, I don't know, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I guess.
No, but how long did you go?
Oh, I went, what did I go? 45.
Yeah, no, January is quite a ways away. You can jump in
So
a week or two right now if you really want to. Up to you.
Right now, everything's
You have to be emotionally ready, Susan. You have to be really emotionally ready. So, like,
right now. Oh, sorry.
Okay, there was some people cycling 30 days on, 30 days off, doing that kind of thing. You know?
Yes, it's like I'm being guided to do it more. I'm just ready because we're in harvest right now, and the watermelons are wonderful.
Yeah.
And so that's why I thought I'll go get through the holidays and then jump back on. But I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get on sooner.
Just
But
the
like I
watermelons.
said, I'm almost afraid of this. What's that?
Just the watermelons. Just them.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've just, and that's another thing is I try eating other things and it's just so disappointing. It just doesn't have it for me. And things are just changing. Everything's changing. And I love it. I mean, it's weird. It's weird for other people to observe.
Yeah.
And it's hard socially, but.
What you said about
Go ahead.
You're almost scared of the power. And we see that a lot. It's just too much for people to comprehend when they're going through this metamorphosis, and it's a shock for them because they're not doing their homework of reading, watching videos, being connected. They're not doing their homework. They know better than all of us who are experiencing it. And have experienced it for decades.
Yeah, but there's always fear. I think that's why we're still eating, like some of us, there's always fear of this amazing feeling that, freedom. I don't know. I think
it can't be true. I feel too good.
It feels too good.
Oh, that's exactly right. I'm a hiking. I just love hiking, and I had to stop a few years ago because I got sick, and now I start to hike and I'll think, I'm probably going to start feeling sick again. I'm probably
don't get those thoughts. Throw them back.
Well, I just that fleeting minute, and I think I feel so good, and I just soar up the mountain. And I'm like, where is this energy coming from? This is so awesome, and I'm just like, wow. I'm going to keep doing this. I mean, I just can't believe it, and the spiritual growth, the love, the connection with people, it's just, with you guys, I just think, I don't even know you, but I just feel it, I just feel it. And it doesn't even matter if you say anything, because when I'm watching everybody respond to whoever's talking. And I just sit there and I can feel you. And I love that. It just feels so good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is why we do these calls, because if we're not here, what are we going to be doing? Yes. We're not going to be focusing on this lifestyle, right? We're going to be out there with everybody else focusing on everything else, right? And that's the challenge.
There's time for everything.
Yeah.
But make time for yourself and make time for, connecting with like-minded people. Yeah.
Like once a week, it's put that discipline into yourself, for time for yourself. That's what this is time for ourselves. When that's why we support each other and inspiring each other.
It helps us change our programming. It's not easy. Yeah. Yes, we feel it, but then we have to sustain it.
Yes.
Yeah, getting some people's experiences, we inspire each other. One person starts, another person wants to start. One person achieves something or dares to do something, and the other person says, you know what, they did it, I can do it. It's important.
Yeah, Ranji's still alive.
I can't wait to watch this again and listen to you again, Ranji. I was just cracking up the whole time.
I do the same too, Sue. I do the same. I always go listen to our Zoom call again because I don't even know what I say.
Good. Just enjoying that energy.
Yeah.
That's my internet connection is unstable, so I got to come back inside, I guess. Darn it. But anyway,
So you've had some challenges over the last few years?
Yeah, I got the label fibromyalgia about
Oh,
2.5 years. Blah blah blah. I didn't ever really believe that. I just thought, no, there's something. I don't know. It was just something weird, And I got with Dr. Morse, which rang true to me, and I started doing that, and then just somehow, I don't even remember exactly how, kind of got connected to you, and I did the one fast for 36 days back in 2000. Was it 2000? Let's see, 17. And then I did another 30 something in last year. And then this time my goal was I'm going to go a lot further than 30. But I had a lot of I am so full of crap.
We all are.
Oh, it was challenging, and but I can't wait to do it again, even though So, but anyway, that's I want to hear some other people's thoughts.
You've been in the group since 2017?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after I did it the first time, I was kind of like, oh, I'm never doing that again. This is too dangerous. I can't handle this. This is too much for me. And then the next year I was like, oh, I guess I'm doing it again. I just got called back. And then this year, same thing. Only this year I was like, oh, it's strong this year. It's strong. I mean, it was calling me big time. And I couldn't wait to do it. In fact, I kind of got off on the wrong foot by not ordering the herbs on time. I started way before I had all of them. And I had to learn the hard way sometimes. But
yeah, we all do.
I guess in some ways, but not listening. But anyway, that's about all I have to say,
Awesome.
I think. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, we talked a little bit about falling off the wagon, so to speak, or getting off track and then coming back. And I just wanted to throw in there that these are signs that we need to dig into the emotions and really think about where we are and what kind of life we want to lead and how we can support our new physical state with a healthier emotional state, and incorporating things like meditation and grounding and yoga. It continues to be a really big helpful resource for me, and I never pictured myself advocating for it so much, but I'm constantly seeing the effects of just 20 minutes of meditation even a day. And so I would like to say that it's so profound how, let's say you don't even feel like you went somewhere deep in the 20 minutes. But later on, at some point during your day, in your most stressful moments, or you might catch yourself and you might say, well, can I bring myself back to a state of calm? And then your body and your mind can remember that moment that you had earlier in the day when you were meditating, when you did have that quiet time. And then you can actually physically relax yourself even. And it's absolutely been fascinating reaching into this now and using it as a tool. And I used to think that you had to have some major traumatic event to claim emotional instability, to claim emotional, pain that you can't let go of. But it's not. It's all of this emotion that is built up in us is from the smallest moments, up to the biggest. But they're all there, and they all take their toll on us because we've buried them in living in the unnatural existence that we're living in. And so we need to allow ourselves, because I know I didn't allow myself. I just felt like, oh, I don't deserve to feel bad for myself and think that I have emotional issues, because, you know, it's not, what I went through isn't as bad as what somebody else went through. So they really have issues, but I can keep going. I don't need to address mine. Nope. We all need to address it, because it pokes out in places, for instance, eating after fasting. And this was a big challenge for me. And what I would do is I would just go back into long periods of fasting without addressing the underlying issues. And so in a weird way, I'm kind of like at square one again. And I'm accepting that. And so now I am addressing these emotional issues and developing my lifestyle. And I will head back into fasting as time shows me it's ready. Yeah.
It's definitely not square one again. It's impossible.
No, right. Yeah, it's a good point. It's not right. It's a different square.
All part of the process.
Yeah. I have been working with somebody very closely, and they're really helping me. I've changed. He's helping me to see how I have made changes already, and then I can keep building on those and keep realizing that my programming was flawed. And so that's okay. I just need to change the programming now. And sometimes when I think of it in that simple way, it's helpful. And I think that it's so integral to this lifestyle transformation with MasterFast, because we're taking on so much new information. And I have found that when I go back into quote unquote real everyday life, where I'm in the field, being who I am, serving the people that I serve, I have gotten caught up in old patterns, old pathways, and working on the emotions is really what's going to help deal with those things. So for for anybody who's interested in what I'm doing, because I didn't know this, well, there's apps for meditation, and there's all different kinds. There's guided, and there's just using a timer, and there's ones that give you stories, or there's all different types. And so you really can choose, and you could even play with going back and forth with different types of meditation. And that's what I do right now. And I bought some incense at a beautiful store that sold all sorts of great spiritual objects. And I found 3 different kinds that appealed to me and made me feel joy, or made me feel like I was ready to look inward. And so I started getting up earlier than the rest of the people in my family so that I could take the quiet time. And I used the app to time where I am. And I allow myself sometimes to have a shorter time. And then at other times, I allow myself to continue to sit and to continue to go and see where things lead to. And if I can, I try to do this twice a day. So it's been a very great tool to have in combination with going out into nature, in combination with using my body. And I have a, pretty busy life, and there's 3 people who depend on me, plus a husband. And so if I'm doing it, I know that anybody can do it. And even if it means starting with 5 minutes, it really has had I want to say dramatic effect, but it's not like there was one key moment, but there's just been several key moments of observation that I've had with it now. And so I think it's doable, and it's a good tool.
Awesome. Sarah, is that you standing?
Yes, I'm standing, so I'm walking around doing stuff while I'm listening. Yes, I am here.
How you doing?
Better.
Ah.
I'm up, I'm moving, so that's a good thing. Yeah, along with went back to juice and then dry fasted, and then I was also going to the chiropractor and acupuncture, and I got a deep tissue massage.
Awesome.
And so hopefully one or all of those things did something, because I felt a lot better after that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still really sore, but yeah, I'm moving now, and so I feel better.
Very good. All those things help
Yeah.
move energy, and that's what we use them for. Sometimes just a touch from somebody else will help, and when we're in these states, so that's why we use these things. We use all these tools because they all will assist, but the body's doing all the work.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But it was kind of brutal. I mean, I've been like swollen and whatnot for the past, I don't know, almost month.
Mm-hmm.
When and I don't think I really realized it until like finally a few days ago when the swelling like went away. I was like, oh my gosh, I've really been swollen for the last like month.
Yeah, no big deal.
So no, I know, but I just like I kind of got used to it, and I knew like after my back went out, like it got worse for sure. Like it was really bad. Like I couldn't even stand for more than like 10 minutes, and it was just like painful. So I realized like how much like I wasn't that bad, but I realized how like swollen I had been, and I had just been kind of like going with it, not thinking about it. So I'm more or less back to normal, I guess. I keep meaning to take pictures of myself. I really wish I hadn't thought about it, because I never, when I went into this, I didn't do it, to lose weight or for my body or anything like that. So I didn't take before pictures. I wish I had now, so I would have like something to compare them to. But I still want to take after pictures. I just haven't actually done it. I finally took pictures of, they're not great, but of my eyes again, to compare those to my before. So I can post those. But I feel like there's been a lot of change there, which is kind of fun to see.
How is breaking your fast going?
Okay. I think my struggle still is to just drink enough. Just because I don't feel thirsty. And I'm not hungry either, but I think even during the fast, that was my biggest challenge, and I think it's still my biggest challenge, is that I just don't feel thirsty, and I get busy and doing stuff, and then I realize I haven't had anything to drink for 2 hours, and then I'm like, my wet window.
We're not drinking for thirst, right? We're drinking to wash, and this is where everybody gets it wrong. We're not drinking for calories. We're not drinking for any of that stuff.
I mean, now that you're eating,
well, I know.
Now that you're eating.
Go ahead.
Now that you're eating, you don't really need to drink, right?
Well, but I haven't really eaten that much either. I mean, I've had some watermelon. Like once I broke the dry, I've had some watermelon, and then juice. But again, I get I know what you're saying about it's for washing. But I guess what I'm trying to express is that if I'm supposed to do it in my wet window, like you know, I still don't think that I drink enough.
Yeah, well,
So
some people they have to expand their sweat window a little to get more through them. That's why if you're all day you're just sipping, you know, every so many minutes or so, you're just taking sips. It's very easy to do 2 to 3 liters. Very easy. I've never seen an issue myself, even in small windows, to do that, just sipping away like that. But
yeah,
no wild cravings hit you?
not really.
Good.
I
Being,
mean, I feel like it was more so in like during the fast, but now that I've broken it, like, and I quote unquote have permission to eat, you know, now I'm like, I'm over it.
okay, but just be prepared.
I'm sure they will come, but as of right now, it hasn't been bad. I think because I've been so focused on, you know, trying to get my back better that I
Have,
haven't really thought about everything else.
Are you moving?
have, have you been doing enemas?
Oh yeah. At least once a day. I've almost it has. I think I missed a day or two, but I've almost been doing it twice a day. Like when I wake up, 6 liters, and then before bed, another 6 liters.
Very good.
Yeah, that would help.
So to try to help that.
Yeah, that's why you've seen the swelling go down because it's all moving out now. The breaking the fast is another, you know, that many days process at least, as long as the fast.
Yeah,
So there's lots going on still. Lots going on.
yeah. It I wish I wish there was a faster way to do it because they take so long.
Yeah, I gotta get my
But
mind. Hang on.
I know, right? I just do like a magic enema where it's
There is.
voila, I'm done. But no, I mean, it's part of my new routine, so I need to embrace it. But yeah, no, I appreciate all your support and guidance. One.
When you for Jamaica, I didn't have to wake up early.
Well, no, because I'm leaving that night. Are you saying hi?
Hi.
All right. Well, somebody else can talk now, I guess.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I ask about dry fasting?
Yeah, sure.
So I've never even done a 24-hour dry fast. I find it really hard. I find that when I go until like get past like 18 hours, I feel like I need to drink juice. I feel like I need to wash, and I hear about people doing, 3-day dry fast and, the weekly dry. And I'm just like, how do you get to that point? How do you move into that?
When do you start? When you're going to do a 24-hour, for example, when do you start your dry?
The night before, or
Evening?
evening, or I've tried where in the morning I'll do the enema just to wash out and then I'll dry from there. But it's usually like at evening. I'll have my herbs and I'll do an enema and I'll do all that and then dry from there.
For a 24-hour, it's always best to start in the morning, late morning. Latest would be like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Because then you have, when you break it at that time, you have time for, breaking it properly and then washing the colon and so on and so forth. If you do get into a 36, for example, then you would start that one in the evening. So it would be broken in the same hour of the morning, a day and a half later. And then you have that time. That's the best way to do it. But how do you get to the point where it becomes more comfortable for you? Practice and practice and practice. Use the tools. Use the herbs. if you're having challenges with a 24-hour,
different levels.
yeah, you can use up to half of the dosage of the herbs, just drops, and that usually helps boost you. You don't want to do a large amount of them because the alcohol will kind of dry you out. So we do maximum half of the dosage, regular dosage, when we're doing the on the full MFS with the juicing ring. So you can do that, or you can do a semi-dry with taking small shots of the juice or tea or alternate. You can do that, or you can go into the colon feeding protocol.
Yeah, so I suggest drinking maybe up to 1 liter earlier in the day. Like, let's say you start at 11 a.m. or 12, or so you drank for that day. You're not gonna be thirsty, that's for sure. You drank, let's say, 1 liter in the morning, right? Earlier in the day, and then you dry fast, and then the next day, early in the day, again, you're breaking your dry. So you're drinking both days. It doesn't feel like 24 hours at all. When you do 48 hours and more, the monthly ones, then you will feel it more, of course. You'll feel dry, but that's part of detoxing. That's part of it.
And
when you're
and do you think that, like, at this level where I'm starting Master Fast, you do those monthly ones? Do you start those monthly ones right away?
Start them at the end of the month.
Part of the protocol, yeah.
Yeah, start them at the end of the month.
If you can get the 3 days, yeah,
So flush for a month, and then dry to go further. You don't need to do 3 days. You can do 48 hours. Start slowly.
Yeah.
Move your way up.
But I've seen almost a big percentage of people been able to do 2-3 day fasts. There's a small percentage that have challenges with 1 day. So you got to just work your way until you expand a little more. But you got to maintain that, and you're maintaining a 12-hour dry window every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna just work yourself up. Like when I did my first dry fast, it was a 3-day dry fast, and the 3rd day I'm freaking out because I've never experienced it before, and so I just went in with the trust and everything, and then I did my next 3 day, and it was no big deal, and it kept going and kept going and kept going, right? But this is we got to work at it.
And you can wash your colon, so that's a more milder level,
Colon feeding.
Colon feeding. So you wash your colon for that 24 hours if you feel it's too much. If you feel you can do it, then just do it.
Yeah, if you're into like 1 or 2 days dry, you don't want to go into colon feeding. You want to start with the colon feeding. But you'll get there. Have you tried the herbs on the dry?
No.
Yeah, they will really give you that little boost.
Okay. I just think I haven't broken through that first day barrier. I always like get into the 18, 19 hours.
It's almost there.
And then I think I get a little bit scared because I start to feel everything starts moving.
Yeah. Towards the end of the first 24 hours, you're gonna feel tired for sure. Towards the end of your first 24 hours, you're gonna feel tired. That's why don't break it in the evening, because you're gonna you're busy all day working, and you're going to feel it more. So sleep, wake up.
If you're doing it early in the day, the end of it is you're in your sleep.
Yeah.
And you wake up and you break your fast. Right?
Yeah, I found that for me, like doing the first one, it was like so brutal just because I'd never done it before. And with the way my work routine was and stuff, like I had to be able to have my normal, work day hours. So I couldn't figure out how to do 24 hours. So I had to do like 36, where I ended it at night and then went until the next morning. And the first one was like god awful. But I found that for me personally, it was, if I started it in the evening and I did the enema, like an extra one before like to start the dry fast, that made it 10 times better, like for that next like 36 hours, you know, and I obviously I worked up from there, but so maybe that would be a way for you to start it, is like, if you're going to try it, like start with the enema, because then you're kind of starting, you know, clean-ish.
Yeah, I would. I feel like you definitely, like, you have to start with the enema, because if you're, for me, like when I'm dirty in the colon and there's a lot in the colon, like if I take the plasma pudding and then it goes through me and it's like I wake up in the morning and it's like sitting in my colon and I'm in that dry fast window, it just feels terrible. And
Totally.
you know, doing that enema and clearing it out, it's just,
well, that's why
you relax so much. Yeah, of course.
I've done them all different ways.
Yeah. I'm talking protocol.
Yeah, like Gino said, that last part, like, you know, at the end of your 24 hours, you're going to start feeling tired. Well, then it's bedtime. So you can just go to sleep and you wake up again and suddenly you're like, woo, you know, there's 8 more hours. And, you know, so it's an easier way to build from there, I think. Because then once you wake up, you could be 36, but then you can stretch it to 38, to 40, to, you know.
The ideal time is no more than a few hours when you wake up. So, like I said, then your ending is just your sleep, and you get up, do a few things, and it's time to break your fast, right? That's ideal.
Right.
Is plasma pudding taken in those morning hours before the dry fast? Sorry, it might be in protocol. Sorry if I'm asking redundant questions.
What do you mean?
It depends. Like, you know, for example, when I start my 24-hour dry, yeah, I would take the plasma pudding. Maybe I would take a little bit less, maybe half, but I would take it.
Okay.
It doesn't affect.
It's
really not that.
I've pushed plasma pudding. I don't want anybody to push you, but I've done them on dries to see what it would do to me. My body's different than a lot of others because I've been doing it for so long. But it's when the colon is blocked up. Yeah, you got to be careful with the plasma pudding. But as you've been going on for years and years, that stuff moves through you, no problem.
But a 24-hour dry fast, you're drinking before you start your dry. It's okay to take some plasma pudding because you're taking the tea and the herbs and the juice, and then you can take a little bit of plasma pudding and then do the
24
bubbly,
hours is no big deal.
The bubbly, the enemas, and then it's fine.
24
do
hours.
A little bit less so you don't get blocked. But
okay, thank you.
Yeah, like for some people, like 24 hours seems like a whole thing. 3 days, my goodness. 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, 12 days. It's impossible, right? That's the way it looked like to me when I did my first 3 days. How do people do that long?
Same to me. That's how it feels.
It's you got to work your way up slowly, and you'll get there. So it's not a problem. Just like anything else, you know, you practice riding your bike, you get better and better and better. You get stronger, and the same thing with dry fasting or any type of fasting. If you do it prudently, you're going to get better at it. Simple. Dry fasting is it puts people in a lot of fear in a fearful state, and that's why by being in a support group and sharing and being supportive and all that, you know, you come to a realization that, you know, it's no big deal and you'll get there little by little. Just keep practicing. Most of us here have done at least 3 days, so you know. When I went the first time 12 days, I could have gone another day, but at that time, but I just chose to do it at 12 because it was 5 days longer than my previous longest. And so that's fine for now. I'll you know, do it whatever. But that month, I started my mass fast with a 12-day dry. I did 42 days total master fast, but 26 were dry, meaning more than half the days were dry. So that was a blissful experience, I can assure you. Because it put me in a state where I knew and understood that food is a complete illusion from that experience. I had a feeling and understanding before, but in that experience of that month, I had a knowing without doubt anymore. It's just I'm not at the state to give up the physical food yet for a billion different reasons, but I know it's possible. Like Marin is still on full master fast liquid hybrid. He hasn't eaten. He's only had 2 small smoothies in the last almost 3 years now. He's in his 3rd year, and he said, he didn't want to go back to food. And back then, I told him, you don't have to. You can live on this. I didn't experience it, but I knew that you can live on this protocol. And it's not because I'm anything special, and it's just because of all the years of going through so many different fasts and being connected with some amazing teachers and coming to some different understandings that everything we've been taught. And most of the information, the realization comes through when you're doing your fasts, especially the dry fast. The more you dry fast, the more the information will come through. And the fear will start disappearing slowly but surely. Like even now, if I get into start getting into a longer dry fast, 7-8 days, there may be a couple of days here I'll have a couple of challenges. Depends what you're eating, right? If you're eating more of it heavier, the dry fast will be more challenging. If you're staying in the cleaner, less obstructive foods, the dry fast will be less challenging. But, every fast is a new experience. You don't expect anything, but whatever comes, we embrace it and we allow the process to take place and let it flow through. We use the tools to pull us through. And if it gets a little overwhelming, too challenging, we know what to do, right? We break the fast prudently and so on and so forth. No big deal. Like, let's say you got to go somewhere and you're in a dry fast and you're a little bit worried or something. Bring some the stuff ready for you to break a fast, just in case. Do things prudently. No big deal. And then when you get back, you do your enemas and so on and so forth. I got lost one time. I was at my friend's place, and it's 50 acres. I shared the videos. I was on, I can't remember, I think it was 7-8 days dry, and I got lost in the forest. I'm going, okay, here's a new one. It was, a bit challenging for the monkey mind, I can tell you. And it was a very hot day. Being out there and being lost and walking for hours, and you haven't drank and you haven't eaten for all those days. So you embrace it all. Embrace it. Stupid people will do stupid things and they'll kill themselves. It's not the fasting. We have the new understanding. We have the knowledge to do things safely and prudently, and it's all laid out in the MFS protocol. Very wisely.
I made sure to be prudent before my surgery. Like I woke up early in the morning and I made sure to do my enema, to drink juice, take my herbs, and I made sure to take plasma pudding because I was like, I need something to pool and absorb when I go into the surgery. I don't want to go into the surgery dry with like no enema, no nothing. So I know what you mean, for sure.
Marin had an emergency surgery on his lung because this was, his first year? He was on full NFS and he had severe pain. He ends up going to the emergency and they said, it was his breathing exercise and whatever. Anyway, the truth came out. His lung was completely burnt out from the 4 years of chemo, right? They removed a part of it. Guess what he did? In the hospital, 13-day dry fast.
Oh my God.
Right after the surgery.
Wow.
They wanted to put him in a mental institute because he refused everything. He said when they had to pull the tube out of him, he refused everything, and they really thought he was mental. And he says the pain was indescribable, but he said I didn't want to put anything else in my body. I was just going to dry fast it. And he did. And he was out in the 13th day because of all the bull crap there, of all legal stuff they want to do against him. But the doctors are telling him, you know, your kidney's going to shut down because they've seen all this crap coming out of his urine. And the lab reports come in completely, totally supporting his kidneys were working amazing.
Yeah.
So they just kept trying to put more fear in the poor guy. And he had no inflammation, no nothing. He was out in the 13 days at home. Anybody with a similar surgery is in there for over a month, right? And who knows how much longer after that.
It's amazing. Did he, I know in hospitals, they actually do enemas for patients. Did he, by any chance, get to do an enema at this hospital?
He just dry fasted.
Oh, okay.
And he had another surgery, same thing. I don't know if he was there 10 days or it was a little bit less maybe. I can't remember. He did the same thing. He dry fasted out of it. Healed very quickly. No inflammation, pain, weight, much less pain. I don't know, you know, when you get into these dry fasting states, if any of you have gone through the longer ones, pain is something that disappears very quickly and is much more tolerable. Meaning, you know, go to jiu-jitsu and stuff, in a dry fast, in a long dry fast, there's no inflammation in the body to have any pain. And you can do much more, right? It's a totally different experience in a dry fasting state because that's where everything happens, right? This is where we're trying to get the understanding through to people. It's not in the other states because a true fast is really only a dry fasting state. The beauty is that with us doing the juice and all the other things is the body is able to mimic and continue staying in a dry fasting state, even though we're drinking the juice, because drinking juice is not a fasting state. Sorry, it's not. But because of what we're doing in the state of the juice and the herbs and so on and so forth, the body still believes it's in a fasting state. So we're able to wash. And that's why the beauty of MFS, right? It's kind of like keeping the body in that fasting state while we can wash. So to give you another example, one person was on NFS, his first one and so on and so forth, and he's there. I'm not getting any releases. I have never heard of anybody not releasing any mucoid plaque after a couple of weeks or so. Anybody, pretty much everybody, when they hit 2 weeks, it's starting to come out, some earlier, some later. And nothing's happening. I'm going, are you this what you're doing? I'm asking all these questions. And lo and behold, he was eating dates. I go, that's not fasting. I've been only having a couple for some energy. Yeah, but it's not fasting. One date will put you out of the fasting state. And this is, you know, amazing and beautiful revelations and tools that we can use now today, because man today is in a much more toxic state probably in the history of humanity. So we need the help of these tools. And it's great that we have all this information now and luxury of the tools so we can do these fasts and go long, right? We can go months and months and months, and you can actually live in this state because we're not working with the matter state. We're working with the higher order states. And once that starts sinking in, then you will stop thinking about nutrition and addition and you're missing something and everything else. And that's not going to happen easily. Didn't happen for me because I was into all that stuff for years. You know, I needed more nutrition and more and more and more. We're not getting enough. And it was right in front of my eyes all the time, but I couldn't see it. Right? It wasn't time until the revelation came through of, my goodness gracious, it's all nonsense, all of it that we've learned. And you know, it is what it is. For some people, they need to be in those states because they totally believe in those things. And if they're not doing those things, they will not do well because they haven't prepared and cleansed their body to be able to change that belief system. And that's where Master Fasting is a school for you to connect with your soul and come to the new understanding. And I can't do that for you. I know you don't have to believe one word I tell you, right? I could be all full of shit. We're all lying. Every single one of us that have gone through the experiences is lying. That's how you have to look at it. So you have to find out for yourself, through your soul, is this for real? Because we're all lying, right? We're all lying. We're all full of shit. Massive Fast is a scam. It's cooked juice. It's dead. How the fuck can that help you? Full of sugar. It's all bullshit. These guys are all lying. You know, you're going to kill yourself. We've had it all. We've heard it all. And that's the way you have to think. You got to be totally skeptical and take it to the place where, you know, is this for real or not? You know, find out for yourself. I've reading about breatharianism for many years, way back, when I started, first heard about it was early 2000s, and talking about raw food was crazy back then. Never mind breatharianism. Eat raw food? What do you mean? Well, no animals cook their food, and you go through all that with people, blah blah blah. So breatharianism, eating on nothing, living on nothing, you know, just liquids, and then you find out, well, there's people doing no liquids. What do you mean? No liquids even? That's impossible, you know, and so on and so forth. And you know, our consciousness and awareness is expanding little by little by little. I watched it happen in the 3 decades, and you know, now we're telling people don't ever drink water. You know, you don't need any water, and you're crazy, and blah blah blah. But if you look at, you know, when I was a kid playing outside, I don't remember having bottled water in my hand. I've never seen anybody carrying bottled water. And we played outside all day for hours and hours and hours in the sun. And our parents would be screaming at us to come inside to eat. And that's the last thing that we'd be thinking about is eating. And so when we look back, the answers are there. But no, we've been told you have to drink water. And if you don't drink water in 3 days, you're dead. What a bunch of bullcrap. It's all marketing to sell you, right? Keep you entrapped. It's all bullshit. And we've all fallen for it. Because if you look out there, anybody walking on the street, most likely you're going to see people with a bottle of water in their hands these days. Lots of them, right? Or it's in their car or whatever. So we're not any geniuses or anything. We're no different than anybody else. But when you do a lot of digestion vacations, many of you will agree the answers show up in plain sight. Right, Ranji? Latrice, I'm sure you experienced, and Sarah and Steve and Inga. It just starts happening because you're removing all those things that are getting in the way for us to access the information. And for some reason, physical food does that. It blocks the flow. And it's probably because we're not ever meant to eat physical foods. That's the only conclusion I can come up with. But we've fallen into that somehow, some ways, somewhere. And this is where we're at now. So it's a time where there's a big shift happening for this awareness. And we don't have to jump into it and go gung-ho, but we can do it prudently, slowly, and do it part-time, be that breatharian state or pranic state, part-time, slow. That's why we say, don't ever go back to more than 5 days a week of eating. And if you can only do 1 day a week, you know, just liquids or whatever, just start on that. But mentally work towards at least twice a day master fasting, 1 day dry, 1 day wet. That's your master fasting cycles, right? And move with that vision of working on that. And you'll see your whole life will start changing, and your whole belief system will start changing, because coming back from, you know, eating 7 days a week, and now you're, you know, 2 days a week, you're not doing it anymore, and you're feeling better than ever, and you're saving a ton of money, and your health's getting better, and so on and so forth. Right? So this is the way it starts happening. And it's a beautiful thing to allow that experience to unfold for everyone. For some of us, we're going to have some challenges. We've seen people with having some real challenges on MFS, but it's far and few in between that go through that. And it's just because of the obstructive lifestyle they've lived, and probably their parents as well, through the genetics and so on and so forth. So they're just going to have to take it a little easier and take their time and be persistent, consistent, and go, and they'll get through it. They will get through it. And Lisa can be an advocate. She had a big, huge challenge with her first 24-hour dry fast, and she was on the call with me because she was freaking out, right? And then she's, I don't know what she got up to, 5, 6 days. I can't remember what her longest, 4 or 5 days at least she's done. And,
I've done 3-day, like 91 hours or something, or 86 hours.
Okay, so you can maybe share your first dry fast experience.
Yeah, I remember sitting in my kitchen and then talking to you on the phone, and I had the tachycardia feeling going on, and yeah, it was very shocking, but I just continued to take things slowly. And really, I had my biggest breakthrough with the longer dry fasting happened just a few months ago, or less even. And it was really fascinating because I'd been dealing with hitting a wall of having these massive headaches, and also the rapid heartbeat. And so I would use little assist drinks, 1 ounce here, 1 ounce there, just to keep the heart rate normal. But this last one that I did, I was in the midst of Master Fast when I did it, and I was able to breathe through it, through the headache, and it went in about 2 hours. It was gone, and I utilized a lot of fresh air and some calm thought, and some private time too, to let the emotions flow out, and it was my best one yet. So it was phenomenal, and it was created so much peace in me at several moments, and it was beautiful.
When we're in a fasting state, things can and will change very quickly from one way to another, meaning you can feel amazing, you can feel like you're dying, or the other way around, very quickly, and back and forth could happen a few times. In a dry fasting state, it's even faster that these things can happen. So sometimes, you're feeling horrific and everything, but if you start using the tools and breath work and so on, and acupressure points out, and you pull yourself through that, all of a sudden you're in a euphoric state, and you're still in your dry fasting state. So these are the things that you have to be comfortable to have that trust to work through those. And if it's not this time around, do a little sip and carry on, and then your next time, oh, it wasn't that bad after you took your sip. Everything was better. So you can push it a little more, allow it to happen and unfold that way there. Jeremy, I think you had something to say before.
Yeah. Was with Susan, you were saying about the almost anxiety from the power of NFS, and I've definitely experienced that. And on my last one, I was just a dickhead, and well, it wasn't really an NFS, it wasn't doing but yeah, I think like Gina was saying, you have to definitely be emotionally ready, because it's true, like you say, like the mirror of truth, like everything comes to the surface. And I had that not so much during the fast, like I was very emotional during the whole fast, what was going on in my life, but afterwards, when I started eating, especially because I broke it, I just had a massive flowback of emotions, and just like an incredibly intense experience where I just almost felt like I was going to die, to be honest. Like, just had to remind myself to keep eating. But that, I think I deserved it, and I had to go through it to really come to the understanding of the protocol, respect it, and the enemas, and especially with the longer ones, like longer MFSs, you need to break it properly and frequently. And yeah, so yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say.
Awesome. All right, so where are we at? We've already gone a couple hours. Everything okay, Steve?
Yeah, everything's going well. You know, I'll tell you, I've been tilling the garden about 5 days a week this year. And
Wow.
last year, about 2 to 3 hours each session. In the last few years, I couldn't do that. I could only go an hour, hour and a half, and my legs would cramp up so bad at nighttime. And I have no cramps this year at all.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome, eh?
Amazing, really amazing what this is doing.
One thing before I forget, if you only drank grape juice when you were on MFS, have you tried any other juices?
No.
What
No, I love it.
I would like you to try watermelon juice if you can.
Really?
Yeah. Just to see if you feel a difference in the kidney area. If just keep it in mind, if you have access and can do it.
I'm getting ready to try again, so.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, cooked, right? If you may have to cook it yourself.
Yeah,
I don't think there's much watermelon juice available on the market.
No. There's plenty of watermelons around right now. So.
Yeah, that's why. You know, give it a go in that sense and see what happens.
Yeah, because it's great for inflammation.
Yeah, for people with edema, it helps a little more when people use the watermelon juice versus the grape.
For the kidneys.
I'll try it. I'll try anything.
Yeah, like melons. Like if somebody's edemic and stuff, melons. Eat melons. It
Watermelons.
helps. It aids the kidneys as well. So lots of things we can do. But,
my Kalima board came in.
Awesome.
Nice.
I haven't tried it yet. I needed to change the toilet. I did that today. So the next week or so, I'll have everything set up.
Beautiful. You're going to enjoy that because in an hour, you're going to do a much better job than enemas.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, more comfortable.
But yeah, everything. And then
you said you're working 4 or 5 hours.
What's that?
You said you're doing 4 or 5 hours a day
in the garden.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easily. In the heat too.
Wow.
Easily. It's crazy. It's really crazy, man. I've never been able to do this out there like I'm doing this year. I go out. I was out there at 6 a.m. this morning. The tiller broke, so I was there. Yeah, I broke the tiller. I blew the transmission in the damn thing.
You can't keep up with you. Hey, we're in Mercury retrograde.
The garden is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Not a weed in it. So it's beautiful.
It's like
I'm in the full sun, full heat, no problem. No problem. Shirt off, no hat.
Don't you get the monkey mind coming questioning yourself? Like, how can this be possible?
No, not out there.
No?
Out there. No, not there. Everywhere else.
Not out there. Out there, you're in your realm.
It's always been my sanctuary.
Excellent.
Always. I can shut everything off. It's the only place I can do it.
Plants.
When I get back home, oh yeah.
So you might as well just do 12 hours out there.
Yeah. If I didn't have to work, I would. But even the other situation that I'm in, this week, it's just, I'm at a higher energy place. Absolutely. There's a higher, something elevated this week where just a little bit of a shift.
Awesome.
I'm getting there. Yeah, it is. It is really great. Really great. And that's eating too. I mean, I'm eating. I'm not. Great cucumbers. I got a little squash yesterday. Sliced that right up in the salad in my supper. Squash, cucumbers, and tomatoes.
Nice.
Sounds
Yeah,
great.
that's really good. But you know what? It's running its course. The eating is starting to run its course, even though it's all fresh.
Yeah.
There's less of a draw to it.
Right. It's amazing. It's wonderful. You're growing your own, but it runs its course. Yeah, that's what I kept saying when I was in the raw food and doing all the sprouts. It runs its course, and then okay, it's time to fast.
It's absolutely running its course. Yeah.
And that's when you're into that awareness. It's awesome because you slowly but surely you'll get more and more, a little more into fasting, and yeah, you'll still enjoy the eating, but you'll find that that balanced state where the fasting will call you more and more and more. And that's the beautiful place to be in.
Yeah, this was a big week, even though it's minor little things, but not so minor. It's a greater awareness.
Tap in.
Yeah, it's great. And even eating, I still feel better than I ever have.
Yeah.
I'm eating clean, so cleaner. This week was better.
Yeah.
This eating period this week has been better.
Yeah, when you got your own homegrown food, man, there's nothing like it.
Got the first tomatoes too.
Nice. Yeah, we've had a few first tomatoes coming.
Yeah, nothing like it. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll never go back. Never. I'll never go. Just like Ranji says, I would. I tasted it. I'll never ever go back. I can't. That's where I'm at.
Beautiful. Thanks, brother.
I think Jeremy has. You have your hand up, Jeremy, right?
Yeah, I just want to say, because I've been having some, I know it can take years for people to get their kidneys filtered, but I've had some issues too, and I've heard what's sort of true not like cranberry and beetroot juice could be worth trying, and also
Cranberry.
With beets is you got to be careful. It's very strong.
Yeah.
Also sweating. I'll be doing lots of like hot yoga, saunas and stuff like that. And castor oil packs. I've got castor oil coming. I've got a good feeling about it. I'm gonna try that as well. But I know some people use it to get the kidney filter now. Just kind of trusting and knowing it'll happen. But yeah, those are a few things because I'm kind of my kidneys have a really good filter. They were on the last one a while ago.
Yeah, your connection's not great. We're not getting all your words.
Okay.
No, that's better. I think you can talk now. Maybe.
So is it any better now?
Yeah,
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Just the kidneys. I've been having some kidney issues as well. And I've been looking into it for filtration. I've heard you had cranberry and beetroot, but also sweating. I'm like doing like saunas and stuff like that, and castor oil packs. I'm getting that on the way as well, and yeah.
Yeah. I remember one time I did a large amount of beet juice. It was like about a liter. It completely knocked me out. I couldn't stay awake, and it just crashed. It's very strong. I don't recommend anybody do. If you're gonna do any beet juice, maybe like an ounce or two. Just be careful with beet juice. It's strong. It's a strong puller because it is a herb, right? And you don't want to be doing too much of that. Cranberry's already on the astringent side as well. So you can mix up all the juices that we recommend and stuff. There's so many you can use.
Keep it fruits, maybe. Fruits?
At the market, Trader Joe's, because I live in California, they actually sell like a small bottle of cooked beet juice, and they sell bottled cooked cranberry juice. So I don't know. Maybe that would be. I never tried. I mean, I've tried raw beet juice, and I wanted to throw up instantly. It was way too strong. So I don't know. Maybe a little bit of cooked beet juice might be helpful. Not sure.
I think it's best to stick to fruits, right?
Yeah, of course.
For the
Like I said, you could do like a shot here and there. I wouldn't. I don't know if I want to really mix it.
Or mix it with green juices sometimes.
Yeah.
If you like it.
I found a whole new appreciation for green juice now, as a means for that grounding feeling.
Yeah.
It's been very enjoyable, and it is fascinating. But where I am, there's a lot of watermelon juice being sold, the pasteurized variety.
Really?
Yeah, bottled watermelon juice. It's a big thing now.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I did taste it out of curiosity, and no bueno. But it was interesting, and I've actually had cooked watermelon juice as well, on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But no. I do have. I'm sorry.
Didn't like the pasteurized one?
When I cooked it myself, I found it enjoyable, but I did not like the flavor when it came from the bottled variety. I do have a question I wanted to ask. I was interested in maybe doing the Wim Hof 10-week course, and I was just curious if anybody here had any thoughts about that. Looking for some vagus nerve and thyroid healing. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I can talk a little bit if it helps.
Please do.
So Lisa's, you've done the slow breathing, haven't you? The Buteyko breathing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I haven't done the 10-week course for Wim Hof, but I did a lot of it when I was doing that cold water plunging. I can only talk from my experience. It helped with the piercing pain of the cold water coming onto your skin. But I also did some cold water plunging just now, and I did the slow breathing just to see the different experience. And what I found personally for me was with the slow breathing, it was very, very calming. So it actually helped with I know you're doing it maybe for a different purpose, but it actually helped with the energy fields to really slow it down. And I find with the Wim Hof that my heart raced. So I found the adrenaline kicked in, and which is probably can help with, I would say, a form of healing or something like that. And I found my intuition or my resonance went more towards the slow breathing rather than the Wim Hof. But I think Wim Hof is good if you get caught in a certain situation, like if you are in freezing cold temperatures and you need that energy of adrenaline. But I find that when you're in a fasted state, could be different, but when you're in a fasted state and your channels are clean, I find that the divine taps in, so the energy fields tap in, and they are the ones that are doing the work. Where I find with the Wim Hof is that you're using a certain amount of willpower. You're actually using something to drum yourself into that place of healing. And not saying that it doesn't work, but I think long term, what I feel, if you're someone that was practicing that sort of stuff, we don't know what's going to happen long term. I don't know. There's something that just doesn't sort of. I'd be interesting to see what you go through if you do the 10-week course, and you're eating as well, so it could be a little bit different. But I really love the Buteyko breathing. Like, it helped with so much pain in the early days, and I still do it. It's like you practice it, and then it already becomes a habitual habit, especially when you meditate and doing that sort of stuff. But that's just my personal experience, Lisa.
Less is
Love
more.
you, sister. Yeah.
Less is more, like putting yourself in these fight or flight situations over and over and over again. It's going to put stress on the body. Yeah, you're going to be able to do amazing things for sure. Wim Hof's proven it. He's broken, I don't know, 26 world records. I think it's going to stress you and put very demanding things to the physical body, mental and emotional body. But you'll be able to do amazing things for sure. Whereas using the less is more way, it's the way where we get into the soul doing the work, and it's going to take the time it takes, whatever that is. Everybody's looking to rush things and want it now, right? And yeah, through stimulating, you're going to feel things now. But when you run things through the less is more way, you're always going to come out stronger at the other end, I believe. That's my opinion.
And when we fast, especially when we dry fast, you'll find that your breathing is much less automatically, and that's a good sign. To me, it's to me it just means that it's the right path. When I find myself breathing less on a dry fast than when I'm drinking, and less when I'm drinking than when I'm eating. I know that the dry is the best for the body. So it feels, it's just the right thing. It feels like the right thing.
Like I've shared before about, I was one who built, acid very easily when I would work out, and my muscle would be very sore. When I started practicing the Buteyko thing, that changed everything for me. No more acid pain in the muscles, just by training myself to keep the breathing to a minimum. And for a few months, it feels like you're suffocating, and you're on the right track when that's happening, because you're building up the CO2. And CO2 is what? It's for energy exchange. Your body makes it because it needs it. It's not a waste product, right? So we have the new understanding now, and that's why you can go and dabble in these other things and do great things, but to do them on an ongoing, continual basis. In the realm of MFS, we've shared everything that we know that is there to help you in the long term in the best possible way for all levels, not just to do feats, right?
It does feel very natural to breathe less. It really does feel right. When I eat heavy food, I find myself breathing much faster. So it's wrong. It feels like the wrong direction.
I appreciate the feedback. I'm not looking to accomplish feats for sure. I was interested in being able to increase my ability to be in cold water for healing purposes, but I'm not interested in stressing my body out. The meditation has helped me focus on my breath, and then I use that throughout the day. So maybe I just need to keep focusing there on my breath.
Yeah, there's, I can't remember the name. I think just a type of yoga somewhere in the Himalayas where they put themselves into states and they wrap themselves in cold sheets while wet. right? And their test is to dry it out in the cold, in the Himalayas, in the minus whatever. And
Wow.
they're not doing it with breathing. They're tapping in the soul,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I got the Wim Hof. I bought the course. Way back. Try these things. Go into those states. See how so you can gain the confidence of going into the cold and dabble into that. But then switch over and try doing the same thing with the less is more breathing. You know, try the different ways. And
Well, yeah.
the Buteyko is something there where we should consciously be aware of that breathing all the time and continuously catch ourselves, breathing through the mouth and correct it, and continuously do controlled pauses throughout the day, and when you're exercising and so on and so forth.
When you
you have to be conscious about it. The more you're conscious about it, the more you'll catch yourself, and the more you'll keep doing it, and the more you'll stay within the minimal breathing and nasal breathing.
When you practice it, when you make it a practice, it becomes almost automatic. Your body just does it on its own.
Even when I go into a yawn, I'm trying to take in the air through the nose, not through the mouth. That's how I got myself to that state. And once in a while, we get air into the mouth, no big deal. But I'm consciously trying to always be aware to minimal breathe through the nose.
Yeah. Actually, somebody had introduced me to it was I thought it was going to be a meditation, but it was a breathing practice for an hour-long guided practice where there was just mouth breathing, actually. And I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, having practiced along the lines of Buteyko breathing. So,
well, it's the more is better mentality, right? More air. You can take way more air through the mouth than you can through the nose. My martial arts teacher, I can't hear you breathe. Don't worry about me. All the time.
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh.
All the time.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that with the mouth taking in more, because I have found that I need to calm my mind so that I could focus on the intake through my nose and work on my timing and relaxation of my body. Okay.
I'm continuously, consciously putting the effort to breathe less and it's interesting because it feels all wrong when you're starting out. It feels like you're suffocating.
Dad.
Yeah.
So
it's the opposite in yoga. When you do yoga, they're always like, I want to hear your breath.
yeah, but that's here, not original yogis. No way, man. It's less. They got it all wrong here in the West. They corrupted it. No. Go check out the true ancient yogis and the teachings. It's about breathing less.
There are many different types also of breathing, right?
They got pranayama where you're doing the nostril breathing, switching, and you're doing holds. That's very nice because it brings balance. Go into. Don't listen to the modern yogi teachers if they're telling you to breathe more.
The fire breath, which is like expelling the air from the nose.
Yeah, there's many different types.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. The fast breathing and I've tried the pranayama. That's a nice experience.
Yep, it's powerful.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Less is more in my book. After being, we need more for many, many, many years. Through all the bombardment of information that I used to go through. and spending a fortune on more and more and more. Got me nowhere fast, plateaued, and then you start getting yourself in trouble and so on and so forth. So the revelation is less is more big time. The art of subtraction. It's where it's at for me. And the results are outstanding and remarkable and unbelievable for some, because it's not understood, because we've been used to the Morse everything mentality, right? So the shift is coming. There's some of us dancing in the less is more, and it's just,
You know, I was going to say, like, just to add on to that is one of the most powerful things is to let go of the information and to let go of everything that you've known in the past, as you know, like what you've been taught and all that sort of stuff. Because it's just the process of doing all that, you know, like not reading and not doing any of that. So you go inward, it tells you all knowledge is inward always. Yeah, so you need to delete everything that you've known in the past, as you know. Delete everything, throw away your books, honestly, just go give them to Lifeline or something.
they all have their purpose up to now.
At that time, yeah. And they may have their purpose again when you know, like insert, like when I go and read some scriptures after these 180 days, I've deleted so much. I'm going to see something from different eyes. So I'm going to be very, get the soul to guide me on that, not, you know, bombard me. So that'll be very interesting to see where that magnetic pull comes from.
Yeah.
May not even need it. Yeah, so interesting.
We run through certain obstacles through our own doing, and then guess what? We start searching out there again. That's what I see happening with a lot of people. They start searching and searching and searching because they're not going in and and allowing the proper questions to be asked so the answers can show up. And this is just going to take time and persistent consistency and devotion over and over and over and over again till you start finding the answers you're looking for within, because we don't have all the answers for you. We surely don't. So keep practicing the meditations and so on and so forth, the pranayama. But I would suggest go try the Wim Hof if you like, and see how you feel through that. But I would not recommend myself for it to be a regular ongoing practice. Maybe if you want to do it once you've gone through a 10-week thing, maybe, you know, do it maybe once a week or once a month or something like that. But maintain the less is more mentality and see the difference yourself. You know, sometimes it will shake us out of our state, and that's maybe what we need.
Well, I'm curious about the use of cold water with healing. I know I've seen it recommended here and there, and I've heard people praise it, but I have a major aversion to the cold still, and so I'm not sure if it's something I need to work on or it's something that'll be helpful for the issues that I have right now.
Is it the cold that's doing the work, or is it the body?
Right.
What's happening with the experience?
Yeah.
Physical, mental, emotional experience with that cold. And
right.
Where's it all coming from? It ain't coming from the physicality. Remember that.
There's always fear, you know, when you.
They're great experiences, Lisa. That's why I do them. I've done it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But you have to ask the questions. Where's the healing coming from? Is it the cold?
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm currently playing with how much my mind controls what's happening in the physicality, and we'll see. Yeah, it's a good thing to ponder.
Yeah, continue the meditations. Go deeper in there. That's what I would highly recommend. Continue the fast. Continue to move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what's the most physical exertion you do? Yoga?
Yep, I did some of that outside today, which was really nice. I just started with fluid movement on my own, and then I moved into some yoga.
Have you ever gone for a really long hike for hours?
No, and my hiking is on the easier side because I'm usually doing it with family. So, I've caught myself not exerting myself, so to speak, because I'm usually taking care of others. So, I just forget that I'm not the one who was swimming in the pool all day. I was just the one watching everybody swimming in the pool. But yeah, that's yeah, it would be enjoyable to do something like that.
Yeah, try and change something. Sometimes these stresses, like some strenuous physical thing, will help. Like, Steve loves being outside with his plants, and
Mm-hmm.
He's doing way more than he's ever done in years. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like that, to bring it to a different level, so you can have a different.
Yeah.
The cold, try the cold though. I would recommend try the cold, but it's not the cold; it's doing the work.
Right. So perhaps I will attempt it again and focus on a different mind state. Yeah. Thank you.
Have you ever walked on red hot coals?
Nope.
I did the first.
Yeah.
I did the first time many years ago with Anthony Robbins here in Toronto.
Huh.
Firewalk, and then I did it another couple times with a fellow here. And the last time we did it, the first times everybody's kind of going through it very, very briskly and quick. And then in the last one we did, he goes, now that you accomplished it, try doing it in a peaceful, meditative state very slowly.
Wow.
And that's what we did. And some people will get like a little blister, a little burn. Nobody got burned. It's just to tell you, yeah, it's hot, but you're overcoming that through the soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're changing that state of really hot cold to not burn you. That's what's happening. So the same thing with the cold, right? An extreme of both. So yeah, it's been many, many years since I've done that, but that was quite an experience as well. And events, will they change your life? Maybe for some. It's because your belief system expands. So, jumping out of a plane or whatever, with no parachute.
Yeah. It's interesting because when you said the hot coals thing, the first thing that came to my mind, have I ever done that? I just thought of my youngest kid who screams really loud in my face at times. And that's my nerves have walked over the coals. But what's changed is that experience, so that's my version of coals, but what I've changed is my mind state now and how I handle that. And I'm going on about 5 to 6 weeks where I haven't raised my voice to my children. and that's all mind state, and it's all of these things that I've learned in changing my habitual pathways. So there is a lot of power in recognizing just that, and that I can apply that to a physical temperature now, and then apply it to something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's possible.
Hmm.
Alrighty, guys. So, if anybody else wants to share last thing, and we'll wrap her up. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, just wanted to share one last thing, but just pray for everyone, or whatever you're going through this week, that you surrender and trust the divinity within you, whatever it is that's stuck in your mind, and to release that through, because the answers are always within us, you know. So I pray for that for all of you, no matter where you are, what you're doing, what kind of week you're going to have, and that you will actually be pulled through that. And it's just about just sitting yourself and sitting in that surrender fully, 100% trusting in that. So I pray for that for all of them and their family and beyond the galaxy. Bless you all. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, supporting each other, inspiring each other. This is what it's all about. You know, tapping into the limitless realms where, you know, everything's possible. We've seen it over and over and over again. Those who devote and commit, it transpires. It's very simple.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good morning for some, or afternoon, or wherever we are.
Love you guys.
Guys, my love. Love you too.
Ciao, ciao.
Love you.